What's up guys, Claydragon29 here again, showing you now the deck review for my Infernity deck. So this is actually one of my favourite decks, so I am really excited to be able to review this one for you guys and explain why I've put these monsters in. So starting off the bat, we'll go with the monsters. So basically let's go with the cards to kind of set up my Infernity deck for being able to roll out my Infernity monsters. So you've got Sticky and Street Patrol. I don't really worry about its first effect, I worry about its second effect, where you can banish this card from your graveyard to special summon one Fiend type monster with 2,000 or less attack from your hand. So that basically targets every single Infernity Fiend type that I have. Mainly it's just Archfiend, Necromancer, and Mirage. Armageddon Knight, when it's summoned, you can set a dark monster from your deck to the graveyard, really handy. Summoner Monk's really good because it can bring out Armageddon Knight or Street Patrol to go into Lavarval Chain and then just detach whatever one I need. Which is really good. So now I'm going to get into the Infernity monsters themselves. So we'll start with Infernity Archfiend, kind of really the hero Infernity monster of the deck. If you have no cards in your hand and draw this card, you can reveal it, special summon it, and anytime it's special summoned, if you have no cards in your hand, you can add one Infernity card from your deck to your hand. So it's a really good engine if you draw it. So if you basically have no cards in your hand, you just pull this card, it's perfect, you just bang, bring it out. With this effect, you can get like Infernity Launcher or an Infernity Necromancer and just bring back all these other cards, so it's a great card and a staple of this deck. Infernity Necromancer, if you have no cards in your hand, you can bring out an Infernity monster from your graveyard, so you can bring out Infernity Archfiend or Infernity Avenger or Beetle, so that's a really handy effect to use. Infernity Beetle, while you have no cards in your hand, you contribute it to special summon up to 2 Infernity Beetles from your deck. So that's really handy if we bring out Red Nova Dragon. If you have a Red Dragon Archfiend, bring out Beetle, tribute Beetle to bring out 2 more. Really easy. Infernity Avenger has got a couple of effects. His effects aren't really the important thing. You just chuck him to your graveyard because he's a level 1 tuner that you need. But if a monster you control is destroyed by battle, you can special summon it from your hand if you have no cards in your hand, and it gains the level of the monster destroyed. So yeah, it's kind of a good effect. It sets up better maybe synchros, but I personally just keep it in my grave. Mirage is another great card because it can't be special summoned from the grave, but if you have no cards in your hand, you contribute this card to special summon 2 Infernity monsters from your graveyard, so you can target Archfiend and Necromancer, get Archfiend's effect to get another Infernity card in play. So Mirage is really important, and you can bring out Mirage with 1-for-1, which is what I normally do. And it also sends a card from your hand to grave, which is really important. The important thing about Infernities is you don't want any cards in your hand when you're activating these effects. Heavy Storm, pretty obvious, same with Darkhold. Foolish Burial to get Sticky and Street Patrol or one of the Infernity monsters in my grave, just so I can target them. Monster Reborn to bring them back. Pot of Duality to kind of set myself up with other cards. I mean, normally you wouldn't add a card that can draw into your deck, but since it's, I add it just because I think it's an important card to put in there. MST is pretty obvious, it clears the back row. Infernity Launcher, this probably is the hero of this deck. It's such a handy card. Once per turn you can discard an Infernity monster, and if there are no cards in your hand, you can send this card to the graveyard to select up to 2 Infernity monsters in your graveyard and special summon them. So it's like Mirage in that way, so it's really handy, and there's a reason it's limited to 1, because it's a really, really strong card. Then you go to the Infernity spells and traps that you might be able to pick up with Archfiend. So you got Infernity Break, where you can banish 1 Infernity card from your graveyard to select 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. And Infernity Barrier is basically like it can negate anything. It can negate a spell trap or monster's effect and destroy it. But bear in mind, all these spells and traps and effects have to be activated if you have no cards in your hand. So you have to make sure there's no cards in your hand to be able to activate these effects. So now we'll go to the extra deck. So you got Lavarval Chain, which is level 4. So basically, I normally just send 1 card from my deck to the grave. So I just drop another Stygian Street Patrol or an Infernity monster. Catasta is my 1 level 5 monster, which I sometimes bring out if I've only got, say, Infernity Archfiend and then Infernity Avenger on the field, or Avenger and Street Patrol or Armageddon Knight, all that. So yeah, normally just do that. It's just a handy kind of backup card if I need it to bring it out. Gaia is my level 6 card, which can be handy if I've got maybe there's many situations. So I mean, you could bring out Catastrophe as well if you've got Beetle and Necromancer on the field. Black Rose just to nuke the field if I needed to, kind of a good backup. But really, the cards you're going to be bringing out is normally just when you've got Archfiend, Necromancer, and Avenger on the field. So we're looking at level 8 monsters. So you got your Red Dragon Archfiend, which basically this is a target then for Red Nova Dragon, which is probably the biggest card that I can bring out. You know, gains 500 attack for each tune in your graveyard. This card can't be destroyed by the effects of opponent's spells or traps. And then when you attack, or when your opponent attacks you, you can banish Red Nova to negate the attack, then bring back Red Nova at the end of the turn. Really good card, really handy card. Mistverm, good level 9, just to bounce cards that your opponent controls. Doom Dragon, good because it's a target for Infernity Barrier to protect, and also its effect is pretty handy to destroy a monster your opponent controls and then inflict damage equal to half that monster's attack to your opponent. Can be better than even just attacking with Doom Dragon, so you know it's a good card to think about. 100 Eyes Dragon is really good. Basically, you can remove from play one level 6 lower monster to make 100 Eyes Dragon gain that monster's name and effect, so you can use it. Normally it's with a Necromancer or Mirage are the two that are really handy with it. And then the last card is Void Ogre Dragon, which is kind of like the Shien of Infernities. When your opponent activates spell check card, we have no cards in your hand, you can negate activation and destroy it, so that's really handy as well. So yeah, that's the Infernity deck, which runs really well. It's just you make sure that those monsters hit the grave as soon as they can, and make sure that you have no cards in your hand, so you can just run these amazing loops. And trust me, as you've seen in the duels that I've done, there are some amazing loops you can pull off. So yeah, subscribe to my channel. You know, give me some suggestions about some other decks that I could make, because I'd love to hear them. So yeah, Claydragon29 signing out.